Beloved, hear this truth with your spirit, and not merely your mind. Your body was never designed to live in sickness. It was designed to respond to life. From the very breath God placed within you, healing was woven into your being. Yet many suffer, not because healing is absent, but because it is blocked. Healing is God's original design for the human body, not a rare exception, not a miracle reserved for a chosen few, but the natural order established at creation. When God formed the human body, He did not insert sickness as a companion to life. He breathed life itself into humanity, and everything that came from that breath was whole, complete, and aligned with divine order. Disease entered later through fear, disobedience, and separation from truth, but healing was never removed from the blueprint. The body was designed to function in harmony with life, not to collapse under it. Every cell, every system, every rhythm within you was created to respond to life, not decay. The body is not merely flesh and bone. It is a living instrument that answers to authority. From the beginning, that authority was divine life flowing freely through spirit, soul, and body. When that flow is uninterrupted, the body knows exactly what to do. Cuts close, bones mend, infections fight, and balance returns without conscious effort. This is not coincidence or evolution alone. It is evidence of intelligent design. Healing happens naturally because it was written into the body before sickness ever appeared. What we often call a miracle is simply the body returning to its original order when interference is removed. God did not design the body to be sustained by fear, stress, guilt, or unbelief. These things were never meant to dwell in the human system. When fear enters, it speaks a language the body was not created to understand, and confusion follows. When unbelief dominates the mind, the body receives mixed signals and begins to malfunction. This is not punishment, it is misalignment. Healing is not about begging God to intervene, but about restoring the alignment between divine truth and physical function. The body thrives when it is allowed to operate under the authority it was created to recognize. From the moment life enters the body, healing is already active. The immune system does not ask permission to fight. The heart does not need encouragement to beat. The lungs do not require faith to breathe. These systems operate because life is present. In the same way, healing operates because life is present. The mistake many make is believing healing must be added, when in truth it must be uncovered. What God builds, He builds complete. Nothing essential was left out. The body carries within it the intelligence to repair, restore, and renew when it is no longer restrained. Faith does not create healing. It releases it. Faith aligns the inner man with the original design, so the body can respond without resistance. Doubt introduces tension, but faith introduces order. This is why peace often precedes healing. Peace is not emotional comfort, it is spiritual alignment. When the mind rests in truth, the body receives clarity. When the spirit stands in confidence, the body follows with obedience. Healing then becomes a response, not a struggle. God's design was never for humanity to live constantly aware of sickness. Health was meant to be the background, not the exception. The body was designed to function so smoothly that healing could occur quietly, without attention, without anxiety. Pain and disease demand focus because they are intruders. Healing is subtle because it belongs there. When divine life flows freely, restoration does not announce itself, it simply happens as order returns. The body listens constantly. It listens to thoughts, to words, to beliefs, to fear, and to faith. God's original design assumed the body would be governed by truth. When truth speaks, the body recognizes its source. When truth is restored to its rightful place, the body does not debate, it responds. This is why healing often begins the moment resistance stops. Not because God suddenly arrives, but because the body finally hears the voice it was created to obey. From the beginning, healing was not meant to be an emergency measure. It was meant to be a continual state of renewal, a quiet process of life correcting what is out of balance, restoring what is damaged, and strengthening what is weak, all under the authority of the life that God placed within humanity at creation. The body responds when fear and unbelief are removed. Because fear and unbelief were never part of its original language, they are foreign influences that disrupt communication between life and function. The body was designed to respond to confidence, order, and truth, not anxiety and doubt. When fear enters the system, it does not merely affect the mind, it sends instructions into the body that contradict its design. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, systems retreat into defense rather than restoration. This is not weakness, it is the body reacting to a signal it was never meant to receive. Fear always speaks of the future as threat, and the body responds by preparing for danger instead of healing. Resources meant for repair are redirected toward survival. Energy designed for renewal is consumed by tension. Unbelief works similarly but more quietly. It does not shout alarm, it whispers limitation. It convinces the mind that recovery is unlikely, that decline is normal, that sickness has authority. The body listens carefully to what the mind agrees with. When unbelief settles in, the body adjusts its expectations downward and begins to operate beneath its capacity. The body does not reason, it responds. It responds to dominant belief, repeated thought, and emotional atmosphere. This is why fear sustained over time weakens the body without a single physical injury. The body begins to obey the story it is told. If the story is danger, it prepares for collapse. If the story is hopelessness, it slows its efforts. But when fear is removed, the body receives a signal of safety, and safety is the environment in which healing accelerates. Unbelief interrupts flow. It breaks continuity between intention and response. When unbelief governs the inner man, the body hesitates, not because it lacks power, but because it lacks permission. Faith grants permission. Faith does not force the body, it frees it. The moment belief aligns with life, resistance dissolves. The body recognizes this alignment and begins to cooperate fully. Systems synchronize. Recovery becomes efficient. Balance starts to return because the interference has been lifted. Fear teaches the body to guard, but guarding is not healing. Guarding is temporary, exhausting, and unsustainable. Healing requires openness, circulation, movement, and trust. When fear is removed, blood flows more freely, breath deepens, and the nervous system shifts from alarm to restoration. These are not emotional effects alone, they are physiological responses to the absence of threat. The body knows when it is safe, and safety invites repair. Unbelief keeps the body waiting for permission from circumstances. Faith gives permission from within. When the inner man stands convinced of life, the body no longer waits for evidence, it responds to authority. This is why even small shifts in belief can produce noticeable changes in physical condition. The body was never designed to be convinced by symptoms, it was designed to be governed by truth. Symptoms speak loudly, but they do not speak with authority. Fear fragments attention. It keeps the mind scattered, divided, and tense. Healing requires coherence. When the mind becomes single, the body follows with unity. Removing fear gathers the system back into alignment. Unbelief divides expectation, but faith unifies direction. When direction is clear, the body moves toward it naturally, without strain, without effort, without force. The body responds instantly to changes in inner atmosphere. Peace is not passive, it is a command the body understands. Peace tells the body that danger has passed, that resources can be redirected, that repair can begin. This is why moments of deep calm often precede physical improvement. It is not imagination, it is instruction. When fear leaves, peace takes its place, and peace carries authority the body recognizes. Unbelief disconnects the body from hope, and hope is a stabilizing force. Hope tells the body that effort is worthwhile. Hope sustains processes that take time. When hope is restored, endurance returns. Cells renew more effectively. Systems persist instead of withdrawing. The body was designed to function in expectation of good, not resignation to decline. Removing fear does not mean denying reality. It means refusing to give reality authority over life. The body does not need denial, it needs clarity. When clarity replaces fear, the body responds with precision. When belief replaces unbelief, the body responds with strength. Healing accelerates not because something new is added, because what was obstructing communication has been removed. Faith activates what already exists within you. It does not manufacture power. It gives direction to power that has been present from the beginning. From the moment life entered the body, capacity entered with it. Strength, renewal, and recovery were woven into the human system long before symptoms ever appeared. Faith simply aligns the inner man with this reality so that what exists can begin to operate without resistance. The body is not waiting for faith to create healing. It is waiting for faith to remove hesitation. Every system in the body carries latent ability. Muscles know how to rebuild, nerves know how to adapt, cells know how to regenerate. These processes function continuously, yet they are influenced by belief. When belief agrees with limitation, these systems slow, restrain, or misdirect their efforts. When belief agrees with life, these systems accelerate and organize themselves toward restoration. Faith acts like a switch, not adding electricity, but allowing the current to flow in the intended direction. Faith establishes authority. The body responds to authority more than it responds to information. You can understand healing intellectually and still remain blocked if authority is divided. Faith unifies authority within the inner man. It settles the question of who is in charge. When faith speaks, confusion stops. The body senses this clarity and responds with obedience. Healing then becomes a coordinated effort rather than a scattered attempt. Doubt drains energy because it splits focus. Part of the system moves toward recovery while another part prepares for failure. This internal conflict exhausts the body. Faith removes conflict by choosing one direction. Once direction is chosen, the body commits fully. This is why faith often produces rapid change, not because time is suspended, but because wasted effort is eliminated. The body stops arguing with itself and begins cooperating. Faith does not deny sensation, it reassigns meaning. Pain may speak, but faith decides whether pain holds authority. When faith is present, sensation becomes information rather than command. The body is no longer ruled by what it feels, but by what it is instructed to follow. This shift alone can change how the nervous system responds, how muscles release, how circulation improves. Faith reorganizes response at the deepest levels. The inner man was designed to lead. When leadership is weak, the body compensates with tension and hypervigilance. When leadership is strong, the body relaxes into function. Faith strengthens leadership. It reassures the body that direction is secure, that the future is not a threat, that effort is safe. In this environment, the body invests fully in repair rather than conservation. Faith also restores timing. Unbelief rushes or delays, creating stress. Faith allows processes to unfold at the pace they were designed for. Healing has rhythm, sequence, and order. Faith respects this order and removes pressure. When pressure is removed, healing efficiency increases. The body works best when it is trusted to do what it was designed to do. Faith is agreement with truth, not optimism without substance. Truth existed before faith recognized it. Healing existed before faith acknowledged it. Faith simply says yes to what is already real. This agreement removes internal resistance. Resistance consumes energy. Agreement releases it. When agreement is established, energy once used to resist is redirected toward restoration. The body responds to consistency. Faith provides consistency of expectation. When expectation remains steady, systems stabilize. Hormones regulate, immune responses balance, inflammation calms. These changes occur not because Ith manipulates the body, but because faith removes contradictory instructions, the body receives one clear message instead of many competing ones. Faith anchors attention. Attention directs resources. Where attention is scattered, resources are scattered. Faith gathers attention toward life. When attention is gathered, resources follow. Blood flow, neural activity, and cellular repair increase where attention is settled. This is not imagination, it is organization. Faith organizes the inner environment so the body can function without confusion. Faith activates courage, and courage reduces avoidance. Avoidance keeps the body in defensive patterns. Courage allows movement, engagement, and adaptation. These are essential for healing. When faith restores courage, the body exits survival mode and enters growth mode. Growth mode is where healing thrives. What already exists within you does not need to be convinced of its ability. It needs permission to express it. Faith grants that permission by aligning belief with design. Once alignment is restored, the body no longer hesitates, no longer restrains itself, no longer waits for conditions to be perfect. It begins to respond according to the life that has always been present within it. Blocking the spirit interrupts natural healing flow because the spirit operates through order, movement, and life, and anything that resists that movement creates stagnation. The spirit is not distant or external. It is the animating force that sustains coherence within the human system. When that force moves freely, life circulates without obstruction. When it is resisted, life becomes compartmentalized, slowed, or distorted. Healing depends on flow, and flow depends on openness. Interruption does not always look dramatic. Often it appears as control, overthinking, self-reliance, or constant monitoring of symptoms. These behaviors signal to the body that trust has been withdrawn. The spirit moves by trust, not force. When trust is replaced with anxiety, the inner environment tightens. Systems that require freedom to adjust become rigid. Healing, which requires adaptability, begins to stall not because power is absent, but because movement is restricted. The spirit communicates through alignment rather than pressure. When alignment is present, the body receives clear instruction. When alignment is broken, the body receives mixed signals. Blocking the spirit introduces contradiction. One part of the inner man reaches toward life, while another clings to fear, control, or past experiences. This contradiction fragments authority. The body, sensing divided leadership, responds cautiously rather than confidently. Natural healing flow depends on responsiveness. Cells must respond to signals, tissues must adapt to demand, and systems must coordinate timing. The spirit facilitates this responsiveness by maintaining harmony between intention and function. When the spirit is resisted, responsiveness dulls. The body becomes slower to adapt, slower to repair, slower to restore balance. This is not failure, it is hesitation born of obstruction. Resistance often comes from the need to understand before surrendering. The spirit does not bypass understanding, but it does not wait for complete comprehension. Healing flows when cooperation replaces analysis. Overanalysis interrupts rhythm. The body heals rhythmically, not mechanically. When the mind constantly interferes, rhythm is broken. Blocking the spirit in this way shifts the body into management mode instead of renewal mode. Control is one of the most common forms of blockage. Control attempts to direct outcomes rather than align with process. The spirit works through process. When control dominates, tension increases. Tension narrows circulation, restricts breath, and elevates stress responses. These changes signal the body to prioritize defense over repair. Healing slows not because it is denied, but because it is deprioritized. Blocking the spirit also occurs through unresolved inner conflict. Guilt, resentment, and self-condemnation create internal resistance. The spirit moves through clarity and truth. When the inner man carries accusation, movement becomes heavy. The body mirrors this heaviness through fatigue, inflammation, or stagnation. Release restores flow. Forgiveness is not merely emotional relief, it is the removal of internal obstruction. The spirit leads through peace. Peace is not inactivity, it is alignment without friction. When peace is blocked by constant urgency, the body remains in a state of readiness rather than restoration. Readiness consumes energy. Restoration multiplies it. The spirit guides the body into restoration by signaling safety. When safety is refused, healing cannot fully engage. Blocking the spirit often means resisting stillness. Stillness allows recalibration. In stillness, the body resets priorities. The spirit uses stillness to restore coherence. When stillness is avoided, recalibration is delayed. The body continues operating on outdated instructions. Healing requires updated information, and that information is received most clearly when resistance quiets. The spirit does not compete with the body, it coordinates it. Blocking coordination results in inefficiency. Healing becomes fragmented, addressing symptoms without restoring system-wide balance. When coordination is restored, small adjustments produce large effects. The body begins to heal intelligently rather than reactively. Trust reopens flow. Trust tells the body that guidance is reliable. When trust returns, rigidity softens. Breath deepens. Circulation improves. Neural pathways shift from alarm to integration. Itch. Assay are signs of flow resuming. The spirit moves seamlessly through a system that is willing rather than guarded. Natural healing flow is continuous, not occasional. Blocking the spirit introduces starts and stops. Starting and stopping exhausts the body. Continuous flow conserves energy. When the spirit is allowed to lead without interruption, healing becomes steady, sustainable, and self-reinforcing. The spirit never withholds life. It is always offering it. Blocking occurs on the receiving end. Removing blockage does not require effort. It requires surrender. Surrender restores openness. Openness restores movement. Movement restores flow. Flow restores healing according to the design already established within the body. Truth restores divine order to body and mind, because truth realigns what has been displaced by confusion, fear, and false agreement. Divine order is not something that must be constructed. It already exists beneath the surface, waiting to be recognized. When truth is introduced, it does not argue with disorder, it overrides it. The body and mind respond immediately to truth, because truth speaks the language they were created to obey. Disorder survives on misunderstanding, but understanding removes its foundation. The mind was designed to interpret reality through truth, not assumption. When false beliefs take root, the mind begins to misinterpret signals, and the body follows those misinterpretations with inappropriate responses. Stress replaces focus, tension replaces flow, and imbalance replaces harmony. Truth corrects interpretation. When interpretation is corrected, response changes. The body does not need to be forced into order. It returns naturally once the mind stops transmitting distorted instructions. Divine order depends on coherence. Coherence occurs when thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions align in the same direction. Falsehood fragments this alignment. One belief pulls toward fear while another reaches for hope. One thought expects healing while another anticipates decline. The body experiences this fragmentation as instability. Truth reunifies direction. When the mind settles into what is true, the body regains consistency in function and rhythm. Truth removes internal contradiction. Contradiction consumes energy. When the mind holds opposing beliefs, the body expends energy attempting to respond to both. This leads to fatigue, inflammation, and dysregulation. Truth simplifies instruction. Simplicity restores efficiency. The body thrives on efficiency because efficiency conserves energy for repair and renewal, rather than conflict resolution. The nervous system is especially responsive to truth. When the mind accepts false threat, the nervous system activates defense unnecessarily. When truth replaces false threat, the nervous system downshifts into restoration. Muscles release, digestion improves, immune function balances. These changes are not emotional coincidence. They are physiological obedience to accurate information. Truth tells the body what is actually happening rather than what is feared. Truth also restores hierarchy. In divine order, the inner man leads and the body follows. When lies dominate the mind, the body begins to lead through sensation and symptom. Pain becomes authority. Discomfort becomes command. Truth restores leadership to the spirit and mind aligned with reality. When leadership is restored, the body returns to its proper role as responder rather than ruler. False beliefs exaggerate limitation. They convince the mind that the body is fragile, incapable, or destined to fail. The body responds to these beliefs by lowering capacity. Truth reestablishes expectation. When the mind agrees with truth, the body raises its level of participation. Healing accelerates because expectation governs engagement. The body invests more fully when it senses that restoration is both possible and appropriate. Truth does not deny difficulty, it contextualizes it. Symptoms exist, but they are not sovereign. Truth places symptoms within a larger framework of design, resilience, and capacity. This perspective shift changes how the body experiences stress. Stress narrows function, but perspective widens it. Truth widens perspective, and widened perspective reduces physiological pressure. Divine order includes timing. False urgency disrupts timing. The mind demands instant results or expects inevitable decline. Both distort process. Truth respects process. When the mind aligns with realistic, life-giving timing, the body settles into sustainable repair patterns. Healing becomes consistent rather than erratic. Consistency strengthens outcomes. Truth also restores trust. Trust reduces vigilance. Vigilance drains the body. When the mind trusts what is true, vigilance relaxes. The body no longer scans for danger where none exists. Energy once spent on monitoring is redirected toward rebuilding. This redirection often produces noticeable shifts without external intervention. Words carry truth or falsehood. Repeated words become instructions. When words agree with truth, they reinforce order. When words agree with fear, they reinforce chaos. The body listens continuously. Speaking truth is not positive thinking, it is accurate reporting. Accuracy stabilizes systems. Stability invites healing. Truth eliminates unnecessary struggle. Struggle assumes resistance where there may be none. The body does not resist healing, it cooperates with it. Truth reveals this cooperation. When the mind stops struggling against imagined opposition, the body moves freely toward balance. Divine order is not rigid, it is dynamic and adaptive. Truth allows adaptation without panic. When the mind knows what is true, change does not threaten identity. The body adapts with confidence rather than stress. Adaptation is essential to healing. Truth restores clarity. Clarity restores authority. Authority restores order. And order restores function according to the design already established within body and mind. When the spirit leads, the body must obey because the body was created to follow life, not to initiate it. Leadership was never meant to come from sensation, pain, or circumstance. The body is a responder by design, an instrument that moves according to the authority governing it. When the spirit leads, authority is clear, unified, and life-directed. In that environment, the body does not debate, delay, or resist. It responds because it recognizes the source of command. The spirit leads through alignment, not force. Force creates tension, but alignment creates cooperation. When the spirit is allowed to lead, the inner man stands settled, confident, and undivided. The body senses this internal stability immediately. Muscles soften, breathing deepens, and systems begin to coordinate rather than compete. Obedience is not submission through pressure. It is response through recognition. The body recognizes the leadership of the spirit because that leadership is familiar, original, and trustworthy. When the spirit leads, confusion ends. Confusion is one of the greatest sources of physical resistance. Mixed signals create hesitation. Hesitation disrupts flow. The spirit speaks with clarity. That clarity removes contradiction between belief and expectation. The body responds to clarity by committing fully to function. Healing processes accelerate because energy is no longer wasted on indecision. The body is highly sensitive to direction. It does not require detailed instructions, it requires clear authority. When the spirit leads, authority. Y is established without noise. The nervous system shifts from alertness to cooperation. Hormonal balance adjusts. Immune responses recalibrate. These changes occur because the body trusts the leadership it perceives. Trust eliminates the need for defensive posture. The spirit does not micromanage the body, it governs it. Governance creates structure within which freedom operates. The body thrives under this kind of leadership because it restores proper hierarchy. When symptoms lead, the body becomes reactive. When fear leads, the body becomes guarded. When the spirit leads, the body becomes responsive. Responsiveness is the foundation of healing. Obedience in the body is not effortful. It is automatic when leadership is right. Just as the heart beats without instruction, the body heals without command when the spirit leads. Healing is not something the body must be convinced to do. It is something the body does naturally when it is not overridden by lower authorities. The spirit leads through peace. Peace is not passivity, it is assurance. Assurance communicates safety. Safety tells the body it can release tension and redirect resources toward repair. When the spirit leads, peace becomes the dominant signal. That signal travels through the nervous system, altering posture, movement, and internal chemistry. The body obeys peace because peace signals alignment with life. When leadership is spiritual rather than emotional, the body exits survival mode. Survival mode prioritizes immediate threat response. Healing mode prioritizes long-term restoration. The spirit leads the body into healing mode by removing the illusion of constant danger. Once danger is no longer perceived, the body reallocates energy toward growth, regeneration, and balance. The spirit also leads through rhythm. Healing has rhythm, cycles of effort and rest, activation and integration. When the spirit leads, rhythm is restored. The body stops pushing when it should rest, and stops resting when it should engage. Proper rhythm prevents exhaustion and supports sustained healing. Obedience to rhythm produces stability. Resistance often arises when the body is asked to obey conflicting authorities. The spirit does not compete with fear, habit, or control, it replaces them. When replacement occurs, resistance dissolves. The body obeys the strongest, clearest authority present. When the spirit leads without competition, obedience is immediate and complete. The spirit leads through truth rather than urgency. Urgency creates pressure. Pressure narrows perception. The spirit widens perception. When perception widens, the body gains access to options it could not see under stress.